Margaret of Denmark is in some ways even more enigmatic than her husband. Now, she is married to the king in 1469, July 1469. She's aged 13.
And to imagine being shipped over across the sea to a strange country to marry a man you don't know, I mean, it's a very frightening thought. And I imagine for her at such a young age, when you haven't developed your grown-up personality yet, to be living so close to a person who's that dominant, obviously it must take a lot of effort and years to find yourself, really, to be able to hear your own tone, because his tone is just so dominant and loud.
Margaret of Denmark, like all the queens and probably all the female characters, is a woman who we only know through very tiny scraps of record.
Queen Margaret of Denmark is an extraordinary woman who starts at the beginning of the play as part of the problem. She's a proud, self-centred, overdressed society lady, and over the course of the play starts to see her husband James III rather differently.
I was really surprised to find out that they separated, the king and queen. They had marriage problems and separated and split the kids, split the castles. I've been there, not with castles, but you know.
Ultimately, she's made to choose between the love for her husband and the love for her sons. And she unequivocally chooses her sons.
That's the beauty, I think, of this relationship, or this love story between James and Margaret, is the complexity of that, is that they actually love each other. You get a very strong sense that they have mutual love and respect. They just come from so different planets that they can't coexist.
And I've chosen to imagine that. I think it's more dramatically interesting to think of a choice of a woman who is actually deeply in love with her partner, but can still see that he's doing really unwise things and therefore has to step away from him no matter what it costs herself.
And that's, I think, the beauty of what Rona's written, is that that complicated set of feelings that you sometimes have about people is kind of encapsulated in their relationship.
At the many points where James really lost control of his own country and things were brought to the brink of civil war, that Margaret was often seen as a neutral arbiter. In other words, she was accepted by everyone as someone who could step in and almost be a royal figurehead at those tricky moments. So to have pulled that off, she must have been a very accomplished diplomat and the kind of woman that could gain the respect of quite warlike and violent men whose blood was up at that point.
One of the things that is essential about Margaret is, of course, that she is a foreigner. She is a stranger. There is a truth in that when you meet something different from yourself is when you define yourself somehow. And in that sense, I think it's really brilliant the way Rona uses Margaret as a contrast or a mirror to the Scottish people. Some of the things she says at the end, when she opens her mouth and gives a great speech to the Parliament and to the Scottish people, really, I think because she's a foreigner, that allows her to say the things she says, the truths she says about the Scottish people, that maybe you wouldn't want to hear from one of your own.